Canoness Argenta. Kill Team Gamma have disembarked from their transport and await your orders.
Any signs of our quarry?
We found what's left of the Inquisitor's retinue. It seems that they were...
Ready the sisters. The light of the Emperor will burn clean these traitors. None escape his judgment.
Hi guys, I'm Russ and welcome to GFN Gaming. Today we'll be playing a 200-point game of Kill Team Commanders from the Commanders International Supplement. In case you're unfamiliar, we'll do a quick rules recap now. Players get 1 additional CP per round. Commanders can count as more than one model for the purpose of scoring objectives, and this is dependent on their points cost. And you can score a maximum of 25 points during one game. There are 5 primary objectives in this game, and each team also takes 3 secondary objectives. The primary objectives score at the end of each battle round and are as follows. Control 1 or more objective markers, control more objective markers than your opponent, 1 or more enemy models taken out of action, more enemy models taken out of action than friendly models, and more enemy models taken out of action by your commander than by the opponent's commander. We are playing Mission 1 from the Commanders International pack, which is Duality. This means you can score 1 bonus victory point if you control exactly 2 objectives at the end of any battle round. Alongside the primary objectives, each player chooses 3 secondary objectives. The secondary objectives I've picked for the Adepta Sororitas are Domination, score 1 victory point if you have more models within 3 inches of the center of the board than your opponent at the end of a battle round. Art of Combat, score 1 victory point if 2 or more of your models performed one of the following actions. Consolidated into an enemy model you are not already within 1 inch of, fell back, or retreated. And lastly, 4 quarters. Divide the battlefield into 4 equal rectangles. Score 1 victory point if there is at least 1 model from your kill team wholly within each of these rectangles and not within 3 inches of the center of the battlefield. The secondary objectives for the World Eaters are Lead from the front. Score 1 victory point every time your leader removes an enemy model or uses the tactic Lead by Example. Reaper, score 3 victory points if 7 or more enemy models are taken out of action during the game. And they have also taken the Art of Combat. That's the mission and those are the objectives. Now let's go over the teams taking part today. First off, we have the World Eaters, and leading them we have the Master of Executions. Not needing to boost his melee too much, I've gone for the Fortitude speciality to give him a 6-up shrug. For their leader, I've gone for a Berserker champion, and he's kitted out with a power axe and a plasma pistol. My first specialist is a Berserker Destroyer, and he will be my combat specialist. He's also equipped with a plasma pistol and a chain axe. I then have 5 Khorne Beserkers in total. They are all equipped the same with chain axes and pistols. The guy pointing at the front here is my Zealot. There is a veteran specialist in here at the back, and the other Berserker has an Icon of Wrath to help everyone get into combat. And of course I'm running these as the World Eaters Legion trait and Mark of Khorne. This is an all Berserker Khorne list at 200 points on the nose for a grand total of 8 models. Khorne approves. And now let's look at what the Adepta Sororitas have brought. So this is my first time ever using the sisters, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they play. To lead the group, I've brought a Canoness. I've gone for the Expert Fighter specialism to push her to 5 attacks. and she's equipped with an Inferno pistol and the Blessed Blade. For my leader, I've gone with the Sister Superior. Despite being modelled with a combi flamer, she does just have a standard bolt gun, and I've given her a power sword. For my first specialist, I've gone for a Battle Sister Gunner with heavy flamer. My second specialist is the Sister Repentia. The Commander's International update does allow you to take more Repentia, but I just have the one model for now, so we'll see how she does. She is my combat specialist to give her 3 attacks with that Penitent Eviscerator. At damage 2 and a tactic to push it to 3, she could be a real character killer if you can get her into that combat. For my third and final specialist, I have gone for a Specialist Retainer, and more specifically, Pyre's Fawn. She will automatically be my Zealot. Moving on to my non-specialists, I now have 2 Arco-Flagellants. They come with 2 D3 attacks with their Strength 5 -1 Arco Flails, and a very tasty 7-inch move, and a 5+ Feel No Pain as well. So I have 2 of these guys hopefully running around throwing themselves at Berserkers. I have another Battle Sister Gunner, and she's equipped with the Storm Bolter. I'll probably be using the Blessed Bolts tactic at least once, which boosts her Storm Bolter into a -2 AP, damage 2 Storm Bolter. And then another Battle Sister with a Simulacrum Imperialis, which will give everyone within a 6-inch aura a +1 to their Shield of Faith invuln save. And then finishing off the Sisters list, I have an additional 4 Battle Sisters with bolt guns, and that is 196 points of Sisters. They will be the Ebon Chalice sub-faction from the LVO tournament pack, which will give them a 5+ save against any mortal wounds. Okay, so turn 1 deployment rolls. World Eaters get a 9, and the Sisters get a 6. Just before turn 1 begins, and the World Eaters will use a tactic, Beseech the Gods. Use this tactic at the start of the first battle round. Pick a model from your kill team and roll a d6. On a 1, that model is found unworthy and suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 2+, add 1 to hit and wound rolls for that model until the end of the battle. On to turn 1 initiative rolls, and the World Eaters get an 8, and the Sisters get a 4. So here's a quick recap of the movement phase. Just in range, the Berserker champion leader will take a shot at the Battle Sister with the Simulacrum Imperialis, hitting on 4s with his +1 from Beseech the Gods, and he hits on a 4, wounding on a 2, and he gets a 6. She'll need a 5 up on her Shield of Faith, and she gets a 2. The Sisters will use a reroll here to try and save this going to an injury roll, needing a 5 and getting a 3. And rolling a 1 on the injury roll. Just in range, the Heavy Flamer will try and take out the veteran Berserker. First, the number of automatic hits, and it's a 1. Let's see if it's still enough. Strength 5 on the Heavy Flamer, Toughness 4, so we'll wound on a 3, getting a 6. Minus 1 AP, so this will be a 4 to save, and rolls a 1. Despite the presence of the Arcoflagellant, the model is not obscured, and the roll will be a 4, 5, or a 6 to take it out of action, and gets a 4. First blood. The Master of Executions will take a shot at the Sister Repentia with the bolt pistol. Hitting on a 6 but failing to wound on a 2. The Sisters will now spend 2 CP on Blessed Bolts, making the Storm Bolter a minus 2 AP and damage 2. 4 shots hitting on 3s, hitting twice. Strength 4, Toughness 4, so wounding on 4s. Getting 1 wound, failing with a 2. At damage 2, this is a real risk, so the World Eaters will use the CP to re-roll. And getting a 6, he will survive. Moving on to the left flank of the Sisters' lines. Within half range of the Sister Superior's bolt gun, she'll be taking 2 shots, rapid fire 1, hitting on 3s. Both hit, wounding on 4s. And that's 1 wound. And no AP, so that's a save on a 6. Moving on to the Sister next to her, and she'll do the same thing. 2 shots, missing both on 2s though. The Battle Sister with a Simulacrum Imperialis will shoot at the Icon of Wrath Khorne Beserker, banner on banner. Between the range and a flesh wound, this will be hitting on 5s, missing on a 2.
Sisters, focus fire!
First gunner misses both. Second will hit both, 4s to wound. And he saves with a 5. Last Sister hits with both, failing to wound. And that Khorne Berserker has weathered all that fire. That's the end of turn 1. Aggressive movement by the World Eaters, with the Sisters taking a more defensive approach. Now for the scoring at the end of turn 1. Both teams control at least 1 objective. The Sisters hold 2 and contest a 3rd, giving them control more, and the Sisters currently have the only kill, giving them kill 1 and kill more. They also score the bonus objective of Duality, holding exactly 2 objectives, making the score 5-1 to the Sisters at the end of turn 1. Moving on to turn 2. Initiative roll, and the World Eaters get a 7. Sisters get a 3. The Khorne Beserker is going to charge the Arcoflagellant. And with a double 6, he definitely gets in. The Berserker Destroyer will now charge the Sister Repentia. Looking to make a start at the Art of War objective, she will fall back 3 inches. Makes it on a 9 even without the reroll from the Icon of Wrath. Just out of range for Overwatch, the Berserker will charge the Heavy Flamer, and he's in range of that reroll aura. The Heavy Flamer will also retreat, looking to get that Art of War objective point and make the charge more difficult. With 2 or more models completing the fallback action, that is 1 victory point for the Art of War for the Sisters. Getting a 3, which will fail, but they do get the reroll with the Icon of Wrath, and getting a 10, which will just be enough to get him into combat. The Zealot will now charge through the doors of the building into the Battle Sisters hiding within, succeeding with an 8. Needing around a 10-inch charge, the Master of Executions will also try and charge the Battle Sisters in the building. Failing on a 6, but getting a reroll with the Icon of Wrath. Still getting a 6, so that will fail. He will use the movement though to get closer to combat. The Berserker Champion Leader will hop the wall to rush into combat with the Arcoflagellant as well. Out of range of the Icon of Wrath, he's going to need to do this first time. Getting in on a 9. The Berserker with the Icon of Wrath is going to move back to secure objective 4. Just a slight shuffle with the Sisters to get line of sight on targets. Models already in line of sight with a target will ready up. Although the Berserker won't be able to target any of the Sisters not declared as targets, he has tied up all 3 of those Battle Sisters. The second Arco-Flagellant will now rush in to help his friend. Getting a 9 on the charge, he most definitely will get in. The Canoness will declare charge on both of these targets to ensure she makes at least one. Rolling a 5, that will just be enough to get in contact with the one directly in front of her. The Sister Superior will also try and charge into the champion leader, failing on a 5, but will use the movement to move further towards them. The Battle Sister with her will just move to secure objective 3. Pious Vaughn moves out to get line of sight on the Master of Executions with her Vindicator Flamer. So this is the scene as we move on into the shooting phase. The readied Battle Sister will try and shoot not at the Master of Executions, but at the Icon of Wrathbearer to take him off objective 4. Missing on a 3. The next Battle Sister will try and soften up the Master of Executions. This will be 2 shots, hitting on 3s. Strength 4, Toughness 4, wounding on 4s. No AP, so this is just a 3-up save. Fails, but does have Fortitude, so a 6-up shrug, but he fails that. First wound down on the Master of Executions. We'll see if Pious Vaughn can now take the commander out of action. Because he has the Chaos keyword, this will be 2d6 automatic hits, picking the highest. And with a terrible roll, that is just 2 hits. Strength 5, Toughness 4, wounding on 3s. Just the 1 wound. Failing the save again on a 2, and also failing the Fortitude save. The Battle Sister on objective 3 will take a pot shot, but misses on a 2. And with that last shot, that is the shooting phase over, moving on to the all-important fight phase. The Sisters will spend 2 CP on Decisive Strike to take the initiative away from the World Eaters. The World Eaters will then counter with their own Decisive Strike, and it will be a roll-off to see who goes first. Sisters get a 6 and the World Eaters a 4. With the Combat Specialist, this will be 3 hits, hitting on 4s, re-rolling because of Zealot. Still just the 2. 3s to wound, and failing both. The Sisters will use their last CP this round to re-roll one of those wound rolls, and getting a 1. Despite all the juicy targets, the Berserker can only target the Heavy Flamer or the Canoness, putting his attacks into the Heavy Flamer. Hitting on 3s, 1 gets through, wounding on 2s. -1 AP, so this will be a 4+ save, failing on a 3. Gets a 2 on the injury roll, but decides to use a CP to re-roll it, still getting just a flesh wound. The Arco-Flagellant who charged will now strike against the Berserker. He gets 2 D3 attacks, so that'll be 5 attacks, hitting on 3s. 2 hits at strength 5, so wounding on 3s. 1 wound at -1 AP, so a 4-up save. Failing on a 3. And on the roll of a 4, the Arco-Flagellant takes the Berserker out of action. Looking to get some points for the Art of War and lead from the front, the Berserker champion consolidates into both Arco-Flagellants, putting all of his attacks into the only one he can target. He gets a base 3, +1 for World Eaters, and with his Beseech the Gods, these will be hitting on 2s. He gets 1 miss, but 1 Death to the False Emperor, and that translates to another hit. 2s to wound, and he gets 3 wounds. The Arco-Flagellant has no save here, so it's just his Feel No Pain on a 5-up, and it is failed on a 2. On a 4, the Berserker champion has taken the Arco-Flagellant out of action. This will get the World Eaters 1 victory point for lead from the front. The Canoness will now strike before this Berserker can strike again, hitting on 2s. Just dropping 1, and with +2 strength, this will be wounding on 3s, wounding 3 times. At -3, the Berserker will need a 6-up save, failing all 3. Now this is D3 damage, so the first one will take the Berserker out of action, so I just rolled the 1, and it is 2, and that Berserker is out of action on a roll of a 4 and a 5. The Zealot Berserker will consolidate into the 2 sisters, getting 1 point for the Art of War. This will be 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. Woeful. At strength 6 on the charge, this will be wounding on 2s. Just getting it on a 2. Needing a 4-up save, and getting a 1. And on the roll of a 6, That is a model out of action. The Berserker Destroyer now will attack the Repentier, hitting on 3s. I'll reroll that 1 as my death to the False Emperor, hitting all 4 times, wounding on 2s. Not a great roll with 3 1s, but that is 1 wound. So I forget she gets the Shield of Faith ability and just roll a Feel No Pain, which she fails on a 3. And on the roll of a 5, she is taken out of action. The Berserker Destroyer will then consolidate into Pious Vaughn to avoid the Overwatch. But that does mean she will get the opportunity to attack him. We'll save that for later and attack back first with the Battle Sister. Unfortunately, the combat here was so vicious that it actually destroyed the recording I took. Nonetheless, Pious Vaughn destroys the Destroyer champion, freeing her up to shoot again in the following phase. At the end of turn 2, we now look at the scores. Both teams hold 1 objective, with the 2 others being contested, so no one gets hold more. Both teams have killed at least 1 model, however the kills were equal on both sides, so no one gets killed more. However, the Canoness did kill a Berserker, and the Master of Executions killed no one, so they get the additional point there, making the scores at the end of turn 2 9 to the Adepta Sororitas and 5 to the World Eaters. Moving on to turn 3 and the initiative rolls. Getting a double 6 right out of the gate, it looks like they'll go first. A valiant effort with a double 5, but World Eaters win initiative for turn 3. There is a safe move here for the Master of Executions to go into the Battle Sister already engaged, however being down on the points, the Master of Executions will try to get into the Canoness. This will be an 8-inch charge. Getting a 3 but still within that reroll aura. Fails again on a 5, this could be disastrous for the World Eaters. In an attempt to save the Master of Executions from Pious Vaughn's Flamer, the Icon of Wrath Berserker will also charge. This is within range, so they will be overwatching. Rolling the Overwatch first, and this will be 5 hits. Wounding on 3s, and that is 4 wounds at -1, so this will be 4-up saves. I accidentally only count this as 3 wounds, but as it goes through to the injury roll anyway, it doesn't make any difference. Rolling a 2, that will just be a flesh wound. Now for the charge. Making it on Khorne's favoured number, gotta be a good sign. The other 2 Berserkers will remain in combat, and now it's the Sister's turn to move. Now seeing an opportunity to claim objective marker 4, the Battle Sister will fall back out of combat. With eyes now on the unengaged Zealot, this Sister will ready. With most of the Sisters already in line of sight, they're just going to ready up. The Sister Superior will help the Archoflagellant and charge into the Berserker champion, making it on a roll of a 7. Pretty confident that the Battle Sisters should be able to clear the Master of Executions in the shooting phase, the Canoness will charge into the Berserker champion leader instead. Needing a 7 and getting it. Moving on to a potentially devastating shooting phase, with the Master of Executions out of position, this could be terrible for the World Eaters. At the end of the movement phase, the World Eaters are going to try to take some of the pressure off the leader and will uncharacteristically use Demon Spirit to target an enemy model within 1 inch of their leader, inflicting a mortal wound on the roll of a 4+. And they get it on a 6. The Sisters are the Ebon Chalice, so they get a 6+ save against all mortal wounds. It fails on a 3, using their last CP they will re-roll, taking the Sister Superior out of action on a 4. Things still look very bleak for the Berserker champion, but that is at least 1 less model attacking him this phase. The Sisters have a lot of options in this shooting phase, and we're going to start with a heavy flamer against the Master of Executions. And that will be 4 automatic hits. Strength 5, toughness 4, but not obscured, so this is just 3s to wound. And that's a terrible roll, just the 1 wound. With a -1 AP, he makes the save on a 5. We'll move on to 2 shots from the Battle Sister on objective 3. This will be 2 shots hitting on 3s. hitting with 1 but failing to wound. Changing target briefly, this will be the readied Battle Sister into the Zealot, slightly obscured, so 2 shots hitting on 4s, hitting both with a double 6, strength 4, toughness 4, wounding on 4s, but fails to wound. The Sisters will spend 2 CP on Blessed Bolts again, so hopefully the Storm Bolter will be able to take the Master of Executions down. This will be 4 shots hitting on 3s. That's 3 hits, now wounding on 4s. 2 wounds go through at -2 AP, so this is a 5-up save. Makes 1, fails 1. I briefly forget it's 2 damage, but I roll the first. He makes it. He makes the second save. The Berserker Zealot will now shoot into the Sister with the banner, hitting on a 6 and wounding on a 6. No AP, so this will be a 3-up save for the Sister, and she makes it on a 3. The Battle Sister with the Simulacrum Imperialis will also take some shots at him. With that flesh wound, she's going to be hitting on 4s. And wounding on a 6. No AP, so a 3-up save, which he does make on a 6. That's the end of the shooting phase, and despite all those shots, no wounds were scored on either side. Now on to the fight phase. The World Eater's only eligible fighter will attack Pious Vaughn. This will be 3 attacks hitting on 3, missing 1 but getting 1 death to the False Emperor, hitting with all 3. Strength 6, toughness 3, so this will be wounding on 2s, all 3 wound. So Pious Vaughn has no save here, but 2 wounds and a 5-up shrug. I roll 2 at a time to see if she goes down to no wounds, and she fails both shrugs. But on the roll of a 3, it's just a flesh wound. Moving on to the Sisters now, and the Canoness is going to try and prove herself against the Berserker champion. This will be 5 attacks hitting on 2s. And that is going to be 4 wounds at -3 AP, so this is 6-up saves. He does make 1, but that is still going to be 3d3 damage going through. At a measly 1 wound, the first will just kill him, so I just rolled the 1. The Canoness fails to kill on a 3 and a 2, so they will use their reroll to try and take him out of action. And on the roll of a 5, he is taken out of action. Striking again before Pious Vaughn has the chance, hitting on 3s and getting 1 death to the False Emperor, that's 4 hits. And that's 3 wounds at -1. Again, no save, so this is 3 wounds going straight through to the Feel No Pain. She'll have to make all 3 shrugs here, so I roll them all just in case. Enough get through, and on the roll of a 5, she is taken out of action. The Icon of Wrath Berserker will then consolidate towards the Canoness and Objective 1. This is the end of turn 3, so let's look at the scores. For their secondary objective, Sisters get a victory point for 4 quarters, taking them up to 10. Both teams control at least 1 objective, however Sisters now hold 3, getting that extra point. Both sides killed at least 1, however this time the World Eaters managed to kill more. But the Sisters commander again gets a point for doing more work than the Master of Executions. This brings the round total to 4-3 to the Sisters, and the total score is now Sisters on 14 and the World Eaters on 8. Sisters now well and truly in the lead with just 1 turn left to play. We do a quick break check for the World Eaters and they're fine. Moving on to the final turn, turn 4. Now for the initiative roll, World Eaters get a 9 and Sisters get a 10, taking initiative for the first time in this game. The Sister will advance, getting further away to secure 4 quarters at the end of turn 4. The Banner and the Stormbolter will move back and the Flamer will ready. The Arco-Flagellant will now charge the Icon of Wrath Berserker and he will overwatch, missing on a 5. And he makes it in on a 5. The Canoness will now charge in to help out, making it easily on a 6. The Sister on the far left will ready on Objective 3, and the other Battle Sister will just move further into that quarter, securing Objective 4. With not a lot left in the game, the Master of Execution is now going for the moral victory and will try and take the head of the Canoness, needing a big charge and getting it on an 11. With that extra movement, he's going to move around the back to secure Objective 1 if he manages to kill the Canoness. Looking to deny 4 quarters, the Zealot will charge the remaining Battle Sister, getting it on a 9. Not wanting a chance to lose the Master of Execution before he strikes, they'll use Decisive Strike and Sisters will counter. The roll-off happens, World Eaters get a 4 and Sisters get a 3. The World Eaters will go first. The Master of Executions might be a bit greedy here, but he's going to try and kill the Arco-Flagellant and the Canoness in 1 strike. Splitting his attacks, he's going for 4 on the Canoness and just the 1 on the Arco-Flagellant. Starting with the Arco-Flagellant, this will be 2s to hit. At a whopping strength 8, this is 2s to wound, and he gets it on a 3. This will be D3 damage, and he gets the big 3. No save here, just the feel no pains. The Arco-Flagellant fails the first, and then saves the second, and the third. He's gonna be okay, just down 1 wound. So there was an issue with the camera and I missed the rolling, but the Master of Executions hit 3 times, just dropping 1, wounded all 3 times, but the Canoness made all 3 4-up saves, so is fine. It's now her turn to strike back, and she will split attacks as well. 3 on the Master of Executions and 2 on the Icon of Wrath. Starting with the Berserker, this is hitting on 2s. Strength 6, wounding on 3s. This will now be -3, so a 6-up save. Failing both, so they're both D3 damage, but the first one will kill him, so I just rolled the 1. And it's the big 3. This will be a 4, 5, or a 6, taking him out of action. But it's just a flesh wound. Moving on to the Master of Executions now. Hitting on 2s, that's all 3, and then wounding on 3s. Getting all 3 again. This will be saving on a 6-up. Saving 1, but that's 2d3 damage going through. We'll take these 1 at a time because of his fortitude saves. So the first is a 1, which won't kill him, and he still gets his fortitude save. Failing on a 2, he now has 1 wound left. And the second damage is the d3. Now that's the order you want to get it in. I roll these 1 at a time for no particular reason, but he fails the first anyway. Needing a single 4 on here, and getting a 5. That is the commander out of action for the World Eaters. With 0 hope of winning now, the Zealot is just out for blood. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. 1 death to the False Emperor, now wounding on 2s. 2 wounds at -1, so this will be 4-up saves. 1 gets through, and this will be an injury roll on a 4-up to take out of action, getting it on a 6. It's now the Arco-Flagellant to strike, and he's going to be putting all his attacks, obviously, into the Icon of Wrath. This will be 2d3 attacks, and that's 4. Hitting on 4s, and that's 3, and now he gets a reroll because of Zealot, but fails. Now wounding on 3s, and that's 3 wounds at -1, so a 4-up save for the Berserker. Making all but 1, so it goes to an injury roll. This will be a 3-up because he already has a flesh wound. But on the roll of a 1, that's just another flesh wound. In the Blood for the Blood God round, and the Berserker is going to strike at the Arco-Flagellant again, hitting on 4s now with the 2 flesh wounds, just hitting the once. And wounds on a 5. No save for the Arco-Flagellant, just the feel no pain on 5+, and he gets it on a 6. Doing a final break check for the World Eaters now, and they make it on a 4. At least they never broke. That is the end of turn 4 now, and the game. And although the World Eaters did deny 4 quarters, it's a sad day for Khorne's favourite murder boys. The Sisters control 1 and more objectives. They also killed 1 or more, however, so too did the World Eaters, so no one scores kill more. However, the Canoness again outworked the Master of Executions, so turn 4 scores 4-1 to the Sisters, making the final score for the game 18 to the Adepta Sororitas and 9 to the World Eaters. That's a victory for the Adepta Sororitas. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment.